Hello? Is anybody out there? Hello. Hello, Cakey Land. Okay, they're letting people know that we started a live video. And there it is! And there's Sammy Joe! And there's Cherry Cake, Cherry Lady. Oh, cute. Hi, guys! Hello, everyone! Okay, we're diving right in today, because I've got Evil Cookie Genius, Allison from Yuzu Yummies. She's going to be demoing some of the new... oh, I didn't even grab one. Some of the new textured parchment sheets that we got in, which is one of the coolest things I've ever seen. And she is absolutely a cookie genius. So let all your cookie friends know we're going full cookie today, guys. So we're gonna get on there with Allison and have her show us how to make some pretty cool things with these like little textured. You see those? They're textured icing sheets. I'm sorry, textured parchment sheets that you use with royal icing. But before we get her on here, I want to know if any of you guys have tried these with chocolate, because I am dying to do this with chocolate. So see, it's got that little, like this is spiderweb one. And so I'm thinking about like cutting this up and sticking it inside a chocolate mold. And see how that works. So anyone, if you've done it, just comment and let me know if you've used these with chocolate, because I'm definitely more of a chocolate person than I am a royal icing person. But we're gonna get to the royal icing person right now. So where is Miss Allison from Yuzu Yummies is gonna be demoing this with our metallic royal icing. So it's like a double threat, right, Emily?
Right.
Double threat. So let's see if we can get her in here. Ooh, person is the little person with the little arrow, right? Mm-hmm. And she should be on here any second. Where's my girl? Where's my cookie girl? Hi, guys.
I am never good at this. I'm always like, oh, hey, request to join. I'm never good at this.
I know. Well, I've done it a million times, and I still have to see if is it the little person with the arrow or... So, Allison, I've never really talked to you in person. It's always been over voice messages and
Yes, nice
and emails and stuff.
to meet
so
you,
it's super
finally.
Nice to have you here. And for those of you that don't know, Allison's company is Yuzu Yummies, and she makes the most incredible
Don't talk
cookies.
me up so much, because then if I mess up here...
No! Don't you worry. This was the thing that caught my attention the first time that I said, okay, this girl is a genius, is I saw you doing, you did a cookie, and you sanded the edges with a zester, a microplaner, and I immediately went to my suppliers and I ordered 2 different varieties of microplaners and I put them on the site immediately, because I will never do cookies without one of these again. It's so cool. You can just sand off any imperfections. I do it on the top too, because my cookies don't come out as nice as yours. So I use it on the top.
Well, and you don't have to worry so much about spreading and stuff, because you're like, oh, it's not straight, and you're done. So.
Brilliant. Anyway, so if you haven't seen that, go to her page after, not now, because she's going to show us cool things live, but go to her page and check out some of her videos, and you got to see this in action. It's a bwahaha moment. Okay, so Allison, tell us a little bit about you. Like Yuzu, okay, I finally figured out that Yuzu is
it's kind of a hybrid between, like, it looks like a mandarin orange, but it tastes more like a lemon or a grapefruit. But it's really seedy. There's tons of seeds in it, so no one ever just like eats it. You know, it's more like you use the zest or the juice or something. But it's probably one of my favorite citrus. I love all citrus, but it's probably one of my favorites.
Okay. And so you chose it as the name of your company
because I couldn't think of a name, and I'm not very creative, and I was just like, oh, you know, because one of the pieces of advice that I got in the very beginning was never to put cookies in my name, because you never know if you want to switch over to cakes or treats or something. So, and even pre-mom days, when I was in the workforce, corporate America, they were always like, never put your name or your kid's name in the title of your business name, because God forbid it fails, right? And then your kid's name or your name is just attached to it forever, right? So I was just like, okay, what can I use? And then I'm Japanese American, and so I was like, okay, Yuzu Yummies, because what's yummy? What starts with Y? Nothing, right? So I just kind of went through the list.
Good point. I love it. I love it, and I think that's really good advice, because we're dealing with that same thing where we did Evil Cake Genius, and now we are really opening up to cookie people. Ever since we did the Stay Put stencils, all of a sudden we're getting and the gold royal icing mix, the metallic royals. All of a sudden we're getting cookie people, and so we bought the domain Evil Cookie Genius. We just haven't launched it out yet, but we're thinking about it, because you are our Evil Cookie Genius.
I can't do cakes. I just took a class this weekend, and I was just like, what am I? I'm like playing with fondant. I'm like, they're so intimidating to me. And I feel like that's how cookies are to a lot of treaters and cakers too. They're just like, oh, royal icing. They don't even want to touch it, you know? And I'm just like, it's not as hard as it looks, you know?
Your videos have encouraged me to
what I will say
it again as a medium.
What I will say though is, because, and I'm not just saying this because I'm talking to you right now, but because of your products, I find it so much easier and faster than I used to. I used to hate making cookies, and I'm like, oh, I'm sitting here for hours. You know, it's just so painstaking. But now, like with the royal icing mix, I don't have to sit there and paint my gold lettering. I'm just like, fruit. I'm like, woo, I just saved 15 minutes, you know, which doesn't sound like a lot, but it is. And it's just, a lot of things are, if you have the right tools, your life, work smarter, not harder, right? And I'm one of those people that looks for shortcuts everywhere, you know, because again, I don't want to be, my time's valuable. I have 2 young kids, right? And people are just like, yeah, but then you're spending money on these extra ingredients, like the royal icing mix. I'm like, but how much is your time worth? You know, that the amount I spent, because I only use, every time I make it, I make a little piping bag like this. You know, your one bag is going to go so far. A little goes a long way. And I'm like, so if I'm only spending like $1 on this, but I'm saving hours of work, it just makes sense.
Yep. And that is, I found, especially small business owners, and especially us ladies, don't know to charge what we're worth, and it's the time. And so, yes, people, that is how you can turn it into a profitable business, is by, that's the number one cost, is you have to cut back your labor. And so, yeah, you're right. Like this, when we came up with this and we were like, oh my God, you can pipe it, you can flood it, you can do all this stuff, and it's already gold. It cut my work in half. So I love it. And I love to see it being used by cookiers. It makes me really happy. So, so what are you going to
Okay, so as you know, I'm always looking for shortcuts, right? So a lot of my content that you see, I'm doing the same morning because I'm just, again, busy or I'm lazy. And so a lot of the content that you see on my page, I did that an hour before I posted it. So I need things to like move fast and be really easy for me. And so one of the things that I love that you already showed are parchment papers. I don't know, can you see that? Yeah. Because it puts an graphic type texture on the background. So that's one step you don't have to worry about. You don't have to worry about stenciling or airbrushing something just to make your background a little bit prettier. This gives something that's subtle, but it still is very like, oh, it's pretty. You know, there's one step that just leveled it up a little bit. So I was going to use these, and of course I was going to write with the royal icing mix. So,
Perfect. And that was something I was going to ask you. How can you do that if you're dealing with royal icing if it has to dry? Are you
No,
a
I'm not.
dehydrator person?
So when you see my content, a lot of times you'll see my marker punch through my crusted, or I'm painting instead of using a marker because my paintbrush is a lot more delicate and I don't have to worry about poking through my icing or something like that. So if it's content, I fake it till you make it, right? And it's like, oh, it looks like it's dry, but really it's just crusted over. But one of the things for the parchment paper I've learned, because some people are like, oh, you have to flood it and then it takes all night to dry or whatever. I'm going to show you a way that it takes maybe a half an hour to dry. So, okay. So let's see how I do this. I got to move you around. Sorry. Let's see.
Okay.
I apologize because it is raining here, so my lighting is really sad. I am in Eugene, Oregon.
You're in Washington, right? Oregon. I couldn't remember if you were outside. Oh, it's Killer Zebras that's near Seattle. Gotcha. All my West Coast girls. Oh God, I love Oregon. Have you been to Cannon Beach?
Actually, I have not.
Have you been to Cannon Beach?
I know. So every time we go to the coast, it's so cold.
Paradise.
Okay.
I went. Oh my God, you have to go. I went 3 years ago, right after we got our vaccinations for COVID. We're like, we need a mini vacation, and we went there, and oh my God, the next year we drove 28 hours in the car to bring our dogs there because it was just paradise. You have to go. Okay, so tell us what you just did, because that has always intrigued me, and I think I know what's going on with what's with
I always get this question. It doesn't matter when or how many times people have seen it. I always get this question in my comments. So I poke my cookies with a fork before I bake it because I am super duper paranoid about having unbaked centers. So just like baking a potato, you know how you punch it, or like if you're microwaving a hot dog or something, you make sure the air can get to the middle. That's what I do. I know.
Your mom is showing.
So this way, hot air gets to the center of my cookie, and I get a more even bake. And I'm not so paranoid about butter bleed or just, I always love when people are like, look how soft my cookie is, and they break it open, and I'm like, ooh, that's raw. But because I have a more even bake, and just so you know, I do, because I'm a paranoid baker, I use the Chua mats, I use chilled dough, I do everything I can to make sure I don't have a lot of spread. But because I have a more even bake, I do feel like it doesn't puff up in the middle as much, because when you use baking powder, it's going to lift up. It doesn't puff up as much and be like flatter on the sides, like it's not like a mound. So I don't have to do let me get a spatula and pat it down, and I feel like it's just a more even bake. So I don't have. Yes.
And especially for stenciling, that's a huge
So
deal.
now, I'm just going to outline my cookie. Now, this is not that important. Like, it is, but it's not, because you're going to be flattening it out, right, with our parchment paper. But I go around twice, so I don't flood. My chances of flooding over are less. And I do this when I do wet on wet cookies as well, because when you're adding more icing, there's a chance you're going to flood over the sides, right? So this is just regular, like I'm just using the parchment paper. I'm not doing anything fancy. So I will fill it in. And now here is where I differ with a lot of people, because a lot of people are just like, oh, you should use a flood, you should use toothpaste consistency. It's kind of whatever works for you. I used to only use a really loose flood because I found when it comes to air pockets, I don't know if you've seen that, but when people use parchment papers, they'll get little air pockets and holes in their designs because it just gets trapped under the parchment. But if I use flood, it moves around a little bit more, and so you can kind of shake it and get rid of those air pockets. But this just happens to be thicker.
Yep.
So.
Okay.
Yeah, and
that seems thicker
when it's thicker, though, it dries, like it will crust over a lot faster. And even if it's not fully dry, at least it'll be crusted over and you can peel it off. So the main thing, main thing I've always learned, I can't even remember who taught me this, but when you put it on, you kind of roll it on. And that will keep from the air pockets forming too. And the thicker,
Oh, look at that.
Yeah. So the thicker your icing is, the more you can kind of touch it and not worry about it flooding over. And I don't see, I see an air pocket right there. So if I do have a thinner consistency, I just kind of like shake it or even turn it upside down so that it'll fill in a little bit. But it's easier to fill in after the fact too.
Okay. Okay, so you can see that I didn't know. So
yes.
You can see right through these to see if you've got an air pocket.
I don't know if you can see through here. Let's see. But I have one right here. Can you see right there? And right here. Mm-hmm. So it'll be a little bit lighter than everything else. So, and then that was if you have all the time in the world, right? You're not me who starts a custom order the night before. And if you are me who's just trying to save time, you get a much thicker consistency. And again, nothing has to be precise, right? Because we're smushing it down with the parchment paper. So this is kind of like a drywall spackle consistency. I used to call it refried beans, and everyone was like, that is so, don't call it that anymore. So.
So spackle is so much better.
At least I'm using like a palette knife. It's kind of like spackle, right?
It is. I agree. So now, so that's
no. I mean, it's just my regular flood, and I just added more powdered sugar to it.
Okay.
So,
okay, cool.
Yeah. So let's see. So I do try to make it kind of as flat as possible, but again. You know what?
You need a little
would
rolly.
Little Rolly stick to this? I don't know.
No.
Hold on.
Just roll Little Rolly in cornstarch first. I'm sending you a Little Rolly. That's it.
Hang on.
Make it out.
I've got one, so let's see.
Oh, you got one!
Oh, corn. I don't have any.
Cornstarch.
Oh no, I don't have any near me.
You try powdered sugar.
I do, but it's in my kitchen, so it's far away. But you guys, here's a little Rolly, and you know what? When I got it, it was free. It just came in one of my packages one time. Which, by the way, can I just mention? I'm doing this little plug. I'm sorry. You guys have a section when you check out called free stuff, and for whatever reason, until you guys mentioned it to me, I never saw it. I don't know why I never saw it, because it's really big right when you check out, and the little pop-ups everywhere. But you know how you just X out of things? Yeah. And now I'm like, did I just get a $20 stencil for free? Like, I get so excited.
Yeah. We're constantly like, where else can we put something so people know they can get stuff for free? And nobody knows.
No.
People think there's a gimmick, and there's not. It's just like a free thing with your order.
Oh, this is the medallion one, yeah.
I love this one. This one reminds me. It reminds me of I think she should.
Yeah. So,
like
so it is so stiff. I didn't even have to roll it. I just put it on and blah, 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 it's done. So.
Okay. Okay, now that's something I've never dreamed of using.
And like
that
I said, if I just let this sit for like a half hour, it's ready to peel. And the only downside to this, though, is the icing is not as thick. So if you have very little embellishment on here and people like more icing, I personally do not like a lot of icing on my cookie. I like this icing to cookie ratio, but some people want a little bit more. It's such a thin layer so that it can dry faster that some people are just like, oh, it's not enough compared to flood.
Mm-hmm. Oh,
yeah.
Okay. So that's to each his own. Personally,
look, the magic of TV. I have one. And there we go. And like you said, trust me.
Oh.
So when it comes to these, I do use simpler shapes, different plaques or, basic shapes, because normally there is, it's barely over. But it's enough that I want to clean it up. And if you have a super specific shape, it's going to be really hard to clean it up at the end. I have, though, in the past, let's see. This is the one we just flooded earlier. If I have something like this, and I know it's a shape that I can't just shave off, I will take a boo-boo stick or something, and I will clean it up before it dries. And I'll just scrape it around the sides. So that when it does dry, it can just, chip off.
That's why we...
Kind of. I don't know.
That's why we do the lives, people. People that are smarter than me tell us how to do things.
We have this one. And what I love about this, I wish that one was dry, is these parchments can go where the design is on top or more embossed and indented. So.
Yes. And that now you'll be able to reuse that because the packs we just added Louise and Company, all of her parchments to our site, and we have a ton of them, and I'm in love with them. So go to Evil Cake Genius and take a look at what we've got. But that was one of my questions. It does seem like you could flip and do either or, but also they come in sets of 6 sheets, but that doesn't mean you're only going to be able to make 6 cookies.
You can use this 5 or 6 times.
Out of one sheet?
As long as when you're peeling it off, you're not crumpling it, because you can tell I haven't damaged the design at all. And one thing I really like about Lauren, who's Louise and Company, is she's very conscious about her designs. There are some companies that I will start peeling it, and the embossing is so deep that when I peel it, it rips or creates holes. But this doesn't, because she's very good about okay, I have this much spacing and everything. So when I peel it, I'm not damaging anything and I can use it again.
That is exactly, guys, this is exactly why we don't shop on Amazon. Because Lauren is a cookier who makes these. And she makes them there could be way more intricate, crazy designs on Amazon for half the price, but guess what? They're going to tear and bend themselves in your cookies, and you're going to be in a lurch. So this is why we do the same thing with our stencils. I've seen, since we created mesh stencils, I have seen some mesh stencils that have been done on the interweb that there's no way in hell it's going to work. So buy cake decorating stuff from cake decorators and cookie decorating stuff from cookie decorators. Don't just go on Amazon, guys. I know it's cheaper.
I agree.
It sounded threatening.
It
was so scary.
Yeah.
There's our...
And again, it's not something that's boom in your face, but it's enough that it's so much better than just a plain cookie, right?
Yes. Personally, I would stick a little royal icing spider on that and be done. But I am not Allison. So
just because you're here and this is what I use, I would normally take one of these, the Shiny as Hell powders, and let's play around a little, right? I haven't done this yet, but we're going to try.
I like this. She's. Oh my God, you're so me.
Yeah. Let's
She's just like,
try
I
it
haven't tried it
live.
before.
Why not?
I might as well do it live.
So it's still black. It's not like fully silver,
It's a nice...
right? But then in the sun, you can really see. Wow, that worked. Okay, cool.
Yeah. Well, and it highlights the contours.
And then
more than the matte black.
You can also dry brush it with just a pigmented color, and it really settles in here. Or airbrush. You can airbrush like the outside to shade it a little bit.
Yep. Especially like a low angle, and then you get all those ribs and those goodies in there. Ooh. Okay, I have to stop for 1 second and let people know that Allison is about to use our metallic royal icing, which comes in.
I am not
silver.
Not yet, but I will be.
Gold. Gold. I know. You're gonna copper and pearl. And so I wanted to say that because of you, we are re-upping our. We're doing buy two get $10 off for 24 hours only. And so yes, so it's the promo code is live10. And if you put any two, they can mix and match any two of our metallic royals in your cart and put live 10 in there, you're going to save $10 on two. Now, it is also on sale right now. So the discount is only going to show up as $6, but live 6 didn't sound as good as live 10. And you really are getting $10 off for two, so I swear. Anyway, so don't forget, guys, live 10, you get $10 off too. 24 hours only.
I am just making, again, haven't done it before, but hey, why not? Before when your guys like, what do you want to demo? I'm like, But I am just creating some like branches, like a leaf, a wreath, kind of. And luckily, since we're doing, I was just going to do black on black, but since we did the pearl sheen, the pearl, what is this called, by the way? Luster dust. What shiny as hell. I always get mixed up with the glittery as hell, but it shows up so much more.
Yeah, it's. Usually, what I recommend to people is the shiny as hell is what I use if I want to get just like a pearlescent look, or if I want to mix it with alcohol and use it as a paint. Where the glitter is if you need full on like Barbie disco, like then I just brush a little bit of edible glue and just sprinkle it on, and that stuff is just like blinding. So yeah, I think the shiny as hell is just a little more subtle. It's classier spooky. Yeah. Yeah.
Now, like you said, and I was going to mix it with you here because in case you have any tips for anybody, because I find I love it. I use it all the time. You know that. You see it in every post. But I store it like this, by the way. You're right. Because you used to have it in little tubs.
I get that email like twice a week where people are like,
I miss the tubs. I'm not gonna lie, because I feel like it's cleaner. I can kind of control it a little bit better, but I do find getting the right consistency kind of tricky. So it can be a little finicky.
Yes, I agree. And
yes, because I do.
Your friend. And
because I feel like a little goes a long way. And I always...
Yes. And if you go pouring, decide to pour a little water in there, next thing you know, it's way too thin, and you're using half your bag to get, to thicken it back up. Now, if that is the case, it's okay. Just store it sealed. And I usually chuck mine in the fridge, and you can just reuse that as long as it's airtight. You can keep reusing it once it's mixed for indefinitely. But that being said, it's nice to not have 50 bags of royal icing sitting in your fridge. Yes, you're doing. I mean, honey, you're
and I
doing
kind of mix it like I would like pasta. Like if you're making pasta, I start in the middle and kind of go out, just because I don't know how much liquid I'm using, and like you said, I don't want to go too loose and have to add more, because you end up having to add a lot more. So.
Yes. Water a drip at a time. Otherwise, you go one drip too far and you're putting in another quarter cup of mix. It's
and it scares me sometimes.
Yeah. and I have people all the time that ask me, can you give me a ratio? And we do on the back of the bag. So it's 1.5 teaspoon of water per quarter cup mix. But it's raining there right now. You're going to add less water than somebody in Tempe right now. And so it really has to do with the conditions, the weather conditions, and whether or not Mars is aligned with Venus, and all those other really important things in the universe. But we used to, like at Gateau, at my bakery, we had 3 humidifiers running all summer long, so that we knew that the humidity in that kitchen was consistent, because one little change in humidity and all of a sudden your macarons don't turn out, your cakes are sweating, all of this, it's crazy. And then in the winter we'd bring in a humidifier.
I think you need to move.
Oh, see, now that's looking good. Yeah, no kidding. Yeah, Minnesota is not. People think it's just cold here, and it's like so dry in the winter that if you just like do this, your knuckles bleed. But it's really bad. But if in the summer it's humid as Louisiana. I mean, it is absolutely disgusting.
When I am making writing consistency, because so you guys know it will always look like a flood, basically. Like if I jiggle this, it's as smooth as a flood. But when I'm writing with it, I do kind of fold it over to see if it'll hold its shape. So, because again, it's so hard. Like, it's just something that you have to play with and get used to. And like you said, see what works for your climate, see what works for you.
Yep.
And someone asked me if you could flood a cookie with it. I don't think I would, because that's an awful lot. And I would rather, again, just flood with a normal color and then dust it with something to get it metallic. And when it is flood consistency, and maybe you can help me with this, I feel like it doesn't dry very well. It's tacky for a really long time. So if you're a cookier and you have to package it in a cello bag, you're going to be really sad. So.
Yes, you have to add extra time. It will dry, but you have to add extra time. And you can, I'll put a box fan on them or chuck them in a humidifier to give it a little extra time. But this will not dry as quickly as typical royal icing, but it will dry.
Look, I don't have to paint anything. I'm just so happy.
And she's got impeccable handwriting.
So yeah, I'm just glad that I didn't have to paint it. Like that alone would have taken me a good 5 minutes just to paint, and it took me less than a minute to pipe out.
Yep.
And
right. And now you can like decide, okay, well,
exactly.
Since I saved all that time, I'm gonna put some little silver berries on there, or I'm gonna actually shower today. Little.
So yeah. So when people are just like, "What do you mean you just make your content in an hour?" And it's like, that took us like what, 10 minutes, 5-10 minutes? It didn't take long at all. And then here, it's the same thing. Like, same basic cutter, right? Same basic like concept, and we'll just change it though. And this is what I love too. With a lot of your tools and stuff, you make it so that you don't have to buy a ton of stuff. Like, I don't have to buy 50,000 cutters you know, this is a circle.
Right. Oh, this is cute. Holly makes it just said, okay, I'm back. I had to rush over and buy silver and gold royal icing. How exciting. I do love it. I feel like an evangelist. When people find out about this for the first time, I feel like you are healed. It's such an amazing, it really is. When we first came up with this, that was my loudest evil cackle.
And I actually did, what?
I love your little freeforms. I love that you do this. That's why I watch your videos constantly. Like, oh my God, the one you did with our thank you stay put, where you pipe the little.
And I just kind of didn't know when to stop, and I kept going.
I love that video. I'll watch it all the time. It's just watching
these little flower branches
come together.
A lot of people think like they sit there and they plan all these sets, and I'm like, really? Just go with it. You know, if it works, it works. If it doesn't, it doesn't. But yeah, I'm not someone that's like, oh yeah, I'm just gonna plan everything. Like, yeah.
Yeah, you play, and I love that. I think that is like I'm a little bit more like classic pianist, like. And
you know, and like, again, a lot of that is just out of necessity. Like I said, I'm a mom, and I don't have the time. Because a lot of times I have to decorate at nighttime or something, you know, when they're already asleep. And if you don't have that time to spare, you do what you can. You make do, right?
And look at this is her version of make do. Oh, there's Holly. I was afraid it would sell out. I'm sold.
Well, didn't you sell out of the silver or something? No.
We did. We ran out of silver for a couple of weeks. We just got it in last week. So it does happen. This is our best. Oh my God, look at how cute that is. And she just like, I blinked and she wrote joy like flawlessly. No, I stencil everything.
I know. I'm always like, oh, projector. And I love when people are just like, oh my gosh, you freehanded that. And I'm like, it's just my penmanship. Don't be super impressed. Like,
I am super impressed. No, ask the people here. Nobody can read my handwriting. It's terrible. These are gorgeous. Okay, so let me see that joy. Hold that baby up for me. Look at that. Oh God.
And you know, obviously, if you're going to spend more time, you'd make it look more like pine needles. But I'm like, you know what? If this were just on a plain cookie, it would just look kind of ordinary. And so this was just, like I said, it just levels it up a little bit with no effort. So.
Yep.
And if it were a plain cookie, it would be the difference between a $6 cookie versus a $7 or $8 cookie, you know? And that's just with a textured background. And again, with very little effort.
Right. Wildflower Bakery says, my penmanship could never. You have beautiful handwriting. I am with you, sister. And that is exactly why we've got the stay puts that almost all of our stay puts have.
Well, and when you were just like, oh, which stencils do you want? I'm like, the one that says happy birthday, the one that says thank you, because it's so much easier. And that's something that I love about these too. It's so easy to stencil with those stay put stencils, and it doesn't even, when we were talking about consistency, it doesn't really matter what your consistency is with the stay put stencils. It's still going to work. Yeah. I think they are match made in heaven because it's absolutely beautiful. And I do use that on with acrylic stencils and stuff. But there you have that where you have to you got to get the consistency right, a little thicker and a little thinner for the regular match. But yeah, those stay puts that's one of my favorite new things. But just pick up the cookie by the stencil. If you guys haven't seen them, go to her page. You'll see she did a black cookie with a stay put stencil, and it was amazing. Oh, there it is with the thank you. And so they stick. It's incredible. It's wonderful. So look at there she is. And I was really surprised how easy this was to clean and put it back on here so that I can reuse it later. Like, so many stencils, especially the screen print stencils, you know, it's hard to clean because it's like moving around and wrinkling and stuff, but this was really easy.
Yeah, we made them kind of a little bit heavier because of that, because I wanted them to work, and people have asked us, like, you know, are they supposed to, no, I had somebody that did the test for us, and she got about 50 cookies
50,
before all of
wow.
a sudden it was just like, okay, I need another one. So yeah, so they'll hold up quite a bit, but she was doing 300 cookies, and she's like, I don't know, and I said, well, you know, start with one, do as many as you can, and we'll ship you as many as you need. And she's like, 50 seems to be the magic number. It depends, you know, on your conditions, but anyway.
What I will say,
okay,
though, is you guys have to have a dried flood. You can't be a procrastinator like me. Like, this sticks really well,
yes.
So it has to be dry.
Yes, yes. Yes, yes, I am not kidding about the stay put. Yes, the first time I did it, I was just holding it up for sizing, and it was on one that only been drying for like an hour, and it like sucked on, and I like tore all the frosting off. No, they have to be dry. But that's what makes them so easy to use, because nothing gets under them. So I'm very excited about that. So guys, again, one more customer service here. Sorry. Not customer service, public service announcement. We are extending, say $10 on 2 bags of any mix of our metallic royals. And that is going on, the code that you have to use is live10. And it's going to save you $10 on 2. And if you haven't tried this before, especially the copper this time of year is just, you use the copper more than anybody I know.
Copper's my favorite.
I love the
actually.
Copper. I think it's beautiful. I love it. And the other thing that Allison does that I've been trying to get people to do forever, the pearl. You can make any color super beautiful metallic as long as you're adding just like a normal gel color. It turns into the most gorgeous metallic, any color you want. So when you've got the bride that's got the, you know.
One of my friends, and I haven't tried it yet, but one of my friends, Marie Bakes, she was saying that she mixes the rose gold into any royal icing that she has, and it shimmers it up and makes it really pretty. And she's like, I just add it to my royal icing. So that the rose gold is the one she uses the most. And I was just like, what? I need to try that.
Really? I would assume it would be the pearl because it's neutral. That is funky. Okay, we'll have to try that. I'm gonna have to contact her and find out what she's doing with that, because that's pretty neat. So, anyway, that was she was nervous. Look at that.
Well, and the reason why it's still sitting there and it's not on me, because I'm like sweating bullets right now. I'm like, oh my gosh.
Your hands weren't shaking? It was amazing. You did amazing. I can't believe you just cranked that out in like that tiny bit of time. It's amazing.
Yeah.
Oh, there we go.
Oh, it's
there she is.
Pearl one. Okay.
Bakes. I use pearl all the time. Yep. I love the pearl. I think it's amazing, and it does. As an additive, I never even thought about it as an additive to things.
We're live, people.
I'm so excited. I dropped me. This was interesting. I gotta find her. If you're on here, let me know. Your rose gold on brown is gorgeous. Oh God, that would be. Send us Ray Marie, send us a picture of that, please. Will you email us? I want to share a picture of the rose gold on brown. That's pretty cool. And so seasonal. Anyway, somebody I've seen on Threads before where people have actually, and now try it. Don't say you recommended it.
Yeah, I have to
paint too. Have you? Weird. Okay, so yeah, so
it's nice because
you can do anything with this.
It's opaque, right? You don't have to sit there and play with it a lot when you're painting with it.
Oh my God!
We need to get you a new mount. Oh, you know what I forgot? I forgot.
What?
made this. Yep. To stick on here. Like.
Oh my God. That is adorable. Closer. Let me see it. Okay, we sent some to Allison to try. Oh, this is our edible ribbon, guys.
Mm-hmm.
And look at that sparkle. That's the red glitter. And we sent it. She's like, I don't know what I would do with edible ribbon. And I'm like,
and can I just say, because you sent it to me big like this, and I'm like, oh. It was so easy to cut, and it's so pliable. And you can and you know what? I asked you to send me edible glue, and I'm like, okay, I just needed water. I didn't even need to use edible glue. And it just stuck to itself.
Oh, beautiful. Okay, I haven't tried it with just water. Okay.
Super duper pliable. I even gave it to my kids. I'm like, eat this. I'm like, tell me, because I was scared. I'm like, eat this. And they're just like, oh, yeah, it's fine. It doesn't really taste like anything. And it didn't, yeah. No. They're just like, it kind of tastes like vanilla. I'm like, okay. So it's not going to change the flavor of your cookie. It's not gross to bite into or anything. Because normally my kids would tell me.
What I like about it is that it holds up right away. So, I've curled it like curling ribbon, and it stays like that right away. But if you want to change it, you decide, maybe I'll make a bow out of it.
It's not when you like fondant where you get the elephant skin or anything. And I could easily just move it around and change it. I'm like, this is so forgiving. And the first time I used it was this morning. I'm like, I wonder if I can make a bow. And again, it's like, why prepare for live? I'm just going to see if this will work.
Oh, God.
So if anyone's asking, all of this is very beginner friendly because it's the first time I even tried using it,
Yeah. So there you go, guys. Allison trying our edible ribbon for the first time this morning. So the edible ribbon is available at Evil Cake Genius right now. I just placed another order. We're running low on some of them, like the glitter. Some of the glitters are running really low, and the metallics. Spectacular. Anyway, to recap, Live 10 save $10 on 2 bags of royal icing, the metallics, and Allison. This is Allison from Yuzu Yummies. If you do not follow her already, follow her. She is brilliant, and all of her stuff has just an amazing amount of
Don't forget, you can get new parchment sheets on your site.
In it, and you can. Yes, and the Louise and Company parchment sheets are now live on our site as well. So there, you can go and grab your royal icing for a sale, get the Louise parchment, and pick up some edible ribbon all at the same time. And follow Allison. She's absolutely amazing, and we love her.
This is one thing everyone was just like, what are you talking about? It's FDA-approved ingredients. I'm like, yeah. And look at how big this jar is, by the way. This jar blew me away because I have other jars that are this thick but only filled halfway when you receive it. This is 5 times more but for the same price. And I was just like, of course during the holidays when we're pumping stuff out, you need to save every penny you can, right? And it's not oh, you're getting a lot so it's an inferior product. I like this more. I know I don't want to talk bad about anyone else, but I like this more. But like I said,
well, what we did again, it was solving problems, and so I used to have to buy the little ones by the sleeve. I'd buy 6 of them at a time, and we'd be going through them like crazy, and it was like, this is not only too expensive, but you're paying for that packaging and
then even your glitter jars are even bigger. Look how normally I receive this little pump, and I'm like, oh my gosh, this is huge.
Okay, guys, so there. Now you're going to save $10 on 2 of these. Then you're going to get Louise sheets. Then you're going to get edible ribbon. And don't forget about the shiny and glitzy as hell in these super mega
The holiday
giant
season, everyone
tubs.
needs glitter, right?
And,
Everyone needs glitter. Everyone needs to like zhuzh it up and make it like really eye popping. So, I mean, glitter and 3D doesn't get much better than that, right?
We love it. We love it, and we love you. And thank you so much for being live with us today. I can't say
I was
enough.
so
We'll
nervous.
do
I
another
don't know
one.
if I
We're
can
gonna do
handle another
this
one.
week. So, oh, you got it. There, I blame you for my empty wallet, Allison. And they're always hooking us up. We appreciate that you don't forget where you came from, Robin. Oh, thank you. Thank you, guys. Okay, so everybody give a nice wave to Allison. And we want to thank her so much for being here. She's you're just fabulous. And I'm going to, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to abduct you, and I'm going to take you to Cannon Beach, because it is absolutely wrong that you've not been there. So anyway, it was great to see you. It was great to talk with you. And we will be live again soon, guys. We'll let you know. And everybody follow
Thank you
Susan
so
Wendy
much.
for all of her
Bye.
amazingness. We love you guys.